I'm really glad I made this decision because it's life-changing. So pretty funny. But yeah, I guess I processed for a year, I kind of learned the ins and outs. And then, I got licensed in April of 2011. And then May 1st hit. So I go to Dave, I go, there's no plan. I mean, you guys have a plan and like all this stuff. I had nothing. I go, Dave, what do I do? He's like, go find realtors. I was like, well, how do I do that? So I didn't have like
you did
a
Zenix,
plan.
right? We had you do Zenix, right?
Zenix, but yeah, I mean, like I didn't know like it was like the very beginning of Zenix. So I had.
And you just did ground school and flight school. You didn't do officer school, right?
They didn't have the other one.
Yeah. Well, they might have, but I don't think we didn't like, you don't need that. We can show you what to do. Yeah.
So basically I was like, okay. And Dave said, if you don't have 30 realtor meetings in May, I'm going to fire you. So I had to go get 30 meetings in May. So I had moved back in with my parents because I didn't have any money. And so every time I drive back home from work, but I'd go like, this is before that, like Zillow and all this stuff. So I would pick up those flyers, they had like the open house and for sale signs. I pick up flyers and called all like 15 realtors the next day and be like, oh, I live in your neighborhood. I'm new to the business and blah, blah, blah. I would write scripts. So I don't know if you guys do that, but just write scripts, practice them, and then just be repetitive with them. And they tend to work out. And Dave or, anyone can like read them and help you with them. So that went pretty well for a little bit, but I didn't have like a plan. Remember, like I just was meeting with people. Right.
Right.
So then I would like, you want me to just keep going? I feel like I'm just rambling.
No, you're not. So talk about what were those first meetings like?
Dude, I don't remember. Bad, probably. I didn't have a plan. I didn't do anything. I just went and met with people. It's like, what's your name? I just get to know them. I look back, it was practice. I was just practicing for like the bigger meetings that I end up getting later on.
So I remember one story. You were let's see. Oh, it was the report card. We used to have a report card that you had to fill out every day to grade your productivity on a daily basis, A, B, C, D, or F. And you kept bringing me a report card that had a C on it. You did it for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks in a row. And then we had a conversation. I walked up. I remember this one. I remember this vividly. I go, how many days in a row do you think you can bring me a report card with a C on it before I fire you? So now I've known Chris for a long time. So he's a friend of my son's, and I wasn't being a jerk about it. I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, and so the next day, tell that story, because that was a great day. That was a great enlightening day for you, I think. Yeah, it was a Friday, so I remember it pretty vividly. And I was late to dinner with Emily for like an hour because Dave wouldn't let me leave. But that was it was one of those like life-changing moments, because it's just like I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, what am I just go find another job? Am I gonna work like a desk job? I never want to be in corporate. I always want to work for myself. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm just like slacking off, doing nothing. Like if you want to like make this work, you gotta like make it work. So then like I think that whole next week, I just called everyone in my database. I think I called like 354 people. I talked to people I hadn't talked to in like 10 years. I was just calling them, and I think that kind of helped get confidence. Like, oh, okay, I can do this. I remember the first day after that we had that conversation. The next day, you had called. You had finally talked to 30 people. You talked to 30 people that day, and you had called like 80 people in order to talk to 30 people. I think that's all I did, because I ended up talking to some people for like 10, 15 minutes. It was like crazy. They're like, oh yeah, how's it going? And it's just so weird. I think a lot of us think like we do like these soft or cold calls, and like no one wants to talk to us, but then you kind of end up having these conversations with people, and just it works out, I guess. I also had Andrew Gallegos at the time too, remember? So right. I had a guy, and I think each one of you should probably pick someone and have like a partner, but also make it competitive. I mean, we would push each other to like who would, have the most meetings and stuff like that, and make it real fun. So I recommend everyone have someone that can just like compete with. And so who's gonna make the most calls? Who's gonna have the most? Yeah, who's gonna get it fun? Yeah, and it was not competitive, but it was competitive, but not like, it was very, very friendly, and we're still buds. So yeah, I would recommend doing that. But
But the one thing that really worked out the most, I think, was doing open houses.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So what I did is every Friday I'd map out like 10 homes I want to go to on like a Saturday or Sunday. And I would just get a Cliff Bar and a Gatorade, and I had our guarantees printed out. It's not as extensive as it is now. It's just our basic like 3, I think, closing, loan deadline, and
Appraisal.
closing costs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just go meet with realtors, and they were, you know, usually it wasn't that busy, so they were just kind of either by themselves, and you end up talking to them for 15 minutes, get their card, follow up with them on Monday, all 10 of them or whoever I saw, and then set a meeting. And I think I would set probably 90% of the meetings just because they already know you, they kind of like you. You gave them, brought them a little gift, and then I still work with probably 10 of them.
Who's your best? And so Judy Pottle, you met Judy Pottle at that's been your best.
Yeah. So I ended up
today. That goes back to 2011. 10 years later, you're still doing deals with her every year.
Yeah, work with her son and her daughter. I mean, I could probably map out, like, I went back to all the listing agents I would call after my buyers close, her buyers close. Like, I probably, if my whole business could probably go back to that lady. Honestly, it's insane.
Such a good relationship. I thought it was really cool. You invited her to your wedding.
Yeah, I invited them to my wedding, her and Kelly. Yeah, they're great friends. She's been my realtor. And so I think the moral of the story is you just got to figure out, you just got to put yourself out there, honestly. And I'm like a big believer in karma. So if you do a lot of good, like, good things will happen. And I think in this business, if you just like do the work, and it doesn't matter, just make calls, cold call. If you want to do cold call, do it. Like, it's gonna, I mean, if you do it enough, it's gonna work, right? Like, you're never gonna bat 0%. You're always gonna
talk about that, because I think that's probably
talk
about that, because that's probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with new into the business. And even those of us that have been in the business for a long time, I know that it's less of an issue when you have all this confidence and you're doing, because, you know, Giuseppe, Jack, Chris, Casey, you guys don't make cold calls anymore. You do enough purchase business. There's always a listing agent that you've never met. But go back to when it started, because I love the idea that you just said, you know what am I doing? I got to go for it. And you just decided to quit thinking about the negative outcome of those calls and just like, I'm just going to call.
Yeah. Like, what's the worst? I was just like, what's the worst going to happen? Like, if I don't, like, I just was like, if I don't go for it, I'm just going to be like resent for the rest of my life that I never like tried 100% to make this work. Right. So I just was like, I'm going to do it. So my thing was just open houses, and I called all my friends, like everyone I knew that my parents' friends, everyone I knew that had bought a home, like, who was your realtor? I think I've told Matt this, because that's the easy call. Then you call that realtor, like, oh yeah, and you have a connection, and they're not going to not set a meeting with you, because then you'll tell their friend and then they're a jerk, right? So my thing was just to go find as many realtors as possible, and then just start trying to get purchase deals, and then start hitting up those listing agents, because we did a good job. And I think that kind of snowballed there. But I think you just got to do the work. You got to figure out what you want to do. I know Matt does Instagram stuff, and that's awesome. If that's your thing, like, do it and keep going at it, and meet as many realtors as you can and get as many meetings as you can. And I think it will work out. I mean, you go these sales masteries classes, and like, you got like people do this and people do that, and you got all these people are successful, but they just do the work. Doesn't matter what you do, right? In my opinion. We have the systems, right? So that's the good thing. Like, you're not at a company that's going to keep dropping the ball, missing closings, and all these meetings you get like are for nothing. Like, we're going to close. So you just gotta get the meetings. You got to follow up. You got to consistently follow up. Yeah, after you get with these realtors, you got to call them every month or text them or check in with them and just say hi. You don't have to ask for leads. I just say hi. What's going on? Any help? I'm not like, hey, do you have any leads for me? Like, I don't do that. I just let them know I'm here to help. And if you follow up consistently enough, they're the lenders who are going to drop the ball, and they're going to call you first.
Hey, Chris, I dig your signs, man.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
about mindset. I get that. Your mindset. You're coming into work and you're looking at things and just you have your mind in the right place. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
How old is that one? How old are those? Show up and follow up.
Oh, I think those are from the beginning, man. I think those are all Jake stuff. Steve Jacobson things, I think.
That was Dan. Dan Kataya was writing tight.
Oh, was it Dan?
Mike White was everything needs a written plan. Show up and follow up. That could have been Jake.
Yeah, I mean, these are all from Psycho-Cybernetics. So I have like a ritual every morning. I have some of these. You probably can't see them. I have them in my closet. So I just go in there and I read them every morning and just like kind of meditate for like 3 minutes and just like focus on helping 200 families purchase home and 150 refinance, having a baby, where that's working, all that stuff. So I wrote like 10 years, like I think 6 years ago, I was like close 100 million by age 35. And I think at age 34, I was like, shit, this isn't going to happen. And then the COVID hit. So I don't know, maybe it just works out. So if y'all haven't read Psycho-Cybernetics, I think you have to read that book too. I mean, that book's just crazy. If you just imagine it and focus on things and put your mind to it, I think it's going to work out.
I don't have anything else, dude. This is perfect. This is this was I didn't think we were going to talk that long. I don't have anything specific. I just love I remember the couple of the other stories that are kind of funny. We had I've told this story a lot. It was that first year, my
first purchase meeting. You talking about that one?
No, but that's a good one too.
I finally got like a lead from a realtor to have a purchase, and he owns his own business. I've still helped him like 4 or 5 times now. And they can only come in on Saturday. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't do Saturdays.
No. He was brand new. No, you were moving. He was.
Oh, I was moving. Yeah. Well, anyway, I was like, oh, I can't do it Saturday. And I talked to you like, what the hell? This is your first meeting and you're just going to like postpone. They're going to go work for someone else.
I told him, I go, if they meet Giuseppe's realtor this weekend, they're going to get pre-approved this weekend. So you need to, and not that Giuseppe would take the deal, but another realtor. And so he rescheduled his move. I go, dude, you're living in your parents' basement. You can wait. You don't have to leave. And so the other one was the $100,000 in income. You were about 25. It was that first year. And he said that if he could make 100 grand by the time he was 30, that would be amazing. And I said, well, how old are you? And you were 26, I guess. It's like, dude, if it takes until you're 30, I will have failed you miserably and I might fire you.
Yeah. Dave almost fired me quite a bit.
I did. I said that a lot. I don't know. It's just you and I have this relationship.
I don't know. I'm just a normal guy. I mean, I know G and Jack would say the same thing. Like, we all worked in restaurants. We just like, this is just a great business. I don't do anything special. I'm just like, I'm not that smart. I'm okay, but I'm not like extremely like brilliant. It's just a great career. And I think we have stuff set up for you. You just got to do the work. I mean, I'll be honest. I made like $1.2 million last year. I'm telling them straight up, like, you guys can do it. It's crazy. It's life-changing. I bought a piece of land up in the mountains. Like, that's beautiful. We're gonna build a house. Like, this career can change your life. And now I got my 2 brother-in-laws work here. It's pretty cool.
It is just math. I mean, and we talk about this all the time, you just have to, and I tell people this all the time. If you do the work, this has never failed. It's only failed when you don't do the work. That's it. It's just that simple. But if you don't, and so the question is, how long do you want it to take? And what you guys have all done, and ideally that's what everybody else is working towards, is you guys have always grown, your businesses have always grown because you haven't been in the same business 1 year, 10 times, right? You guys continue to get better at this. And what we have focused on here, and this is what, it's hard to appreciate what I'm about to say, but I lived in a world, my first 2.5 years in the business, and then my next 2.5 or 3 years after I started the company, I couldn't close a loan on time. Closing on time was like, all right, this is awesome. We're not closing late this time. When you're working all the time and you have to like convince a real estate agent to send you more business, even though you can't close a deal on time, that's freaking hard. That's hard. This is easy. You get a deal, it closes, you look like the figures are there on time, the wire's there the day before, everything is exactly as the way you said it. That's easy to sell, right? So you should have all the confidence in the world, is like, that's who we are. Everybody says they'll do that, but not everybody does. There's horror stories abounding in this. Just talk to your title reps. Talk to the title reps. They're going, how often do loans close late? They close late a lot, not all the time, but they close late a lot. And so that's part of what the advantage that these guys have had is that they never had to deal with like, oh shit, because I lost relationships all the time over just, I dropped the ball. And it's because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have any processes or systems or anything in place. That's all different today. So anyway, does anybody have any other questions for Chris?
I was just going to say, what Chris said about, we have the systems to get the loan closed smoothly. So that makes it way different than everybody else, because a lot of people burn out of this industry because you have to continuously prospect, because you keep blowing relationships. So you're like always having to get new realtors on board. You don't really have to do that. You can do that naturally just by delivering, right? Maybe you pick up the listing agents here and there, and it just makes for a much easier process. And yeah, this really sucks, prospecting at the beginning and making all those cold calls and having all those meetings. Some of them are worthless, some of them you get stood up, but you don't have to do it forever with this company. Maybe you do at other companies where you keep losing relationships because you're not closing on time or whatever it may be. And so I'm thankful for that, and that our company is small enough that we're nimble, that we can adjust quickly when things change, when markets change. I mean, we picked up a purchase this month that was referred by a realtor because they went under contract with Bank of America on a 30-day closing. And then Bank of America told them we need 60 days to close a regular purchase. And so, we're like, yeah, we can close it. And so we just did, pick up another listing agent maybe out of that, right? So just do the work, like you said, and it's not going to last forever. And then it just gets easier.
Yeah, that's a good point. Definitely gets easier.
What's true about this business, I guess, more than anything, when you first get started, is you can think about the competition and you think about who your competitors are. Is it Quicken? Is it Fairway? Is it like going, nah, the competition, just look in the mirror. That's your competition. It's getting past the bullshit in your head and just go, because it works. It's always worked. And I'm telling you, isn't that all you need to know? This has always worked if I do the work. Okay, you either believe me or you don't, right? But if you believe me and you've got evidence, you can ask these guys anytime you want. You can talk to Curtis. Curtis knows, even though he hasn't been here this whole time. If you do the work, this always works. And that's all there is. It's just math, right? It's just math. The more you work, the better you'll get. The more meetings you have, the more calls you make, the more it just builds. Right. And then the open house thing kind of went out of favor a long time. Now Casey used to do that. I don't know how often Jacqueline did it. Giuseppe, I'm not sure if you ever did that stuff. It doesn't matter what you do. It matters that you do something, and that you stay consistent and you keep going until, right? That's what, anyway.
Yeah. And I think it's to that point of like, it's, we do have something special. I know you hear us like say this, we're not like beating on the drum. Like it's true. Cause I was like Googling someone a company yesterday, and I saw Kimberly Leffler. Like, you see these people that used to work here, they've bounced around at like 5 or 6 different mortgage companies thinking like, oh, this next one's going to be the one that's going to like get me to the next level or something, or like fix it. But it's not. I mean, it's like we have the best systems you can find, but you have to do the work. And I think these people just think they'll go somewhere else and it will end up working out. But it's them that's not doing the work.
Yeah. Dave will tell you there's a lot of crazy deception out there. Like, people will tell you what you want to hear to get you on board because it's so difficult to leave, is what their mindset is. It's crazy out there. And this is golden here. And you're right, Giuseppe. I completely agree with that. There's a sweet spot, in a broker coming from 3.5 years, owning a brokerage. I mean, at first it was great, this small thing, in attention and, tech and UWM's great. And all of a sudden they're a $150 billion a year company. And now you're just another number being shoved through an electronic. It's just like, you can't get things done the same way. The connections that are happening here blows my mind. Like I said, I sleep at night now. That's, because I care about my clients and my relationships, right? So yeah, all total truth. Totally agree.
And I think everyone here has probably closed a loan at least. So it seems like as soon as you close a loan, you start getting recruiting calls and emails.
Oh, yeah.
Like 17 a day on LinkedIn or whatever. Personal cell phone, my Google Voice, it's nonstop. Just know, like, one of the realities that I figured out, and having Curtis here like pretty much solidifies it for me, that there's nothing better out there. Okay?
Yeah.
Like, we all get our money from the
Amen.
same place.
Yeah.
And so anyone who's reaching out because they're reaching out that they're paying you a higher compensation on basis points, it's because they're built into the margins. So you're going to get higher rates.
Mhm.
And then you're going to get less loans. So you're going to get a bigger commission, but on less loans. So is that worth it? I don't know. It's a trade-off. And then, you know, Curtis, I mean, we can be honest. He was my neighbor and he started his brokerage and he never tried to recruit me, but he would be like, dude, I'm making 300 basis points. I'm like, damn, I wish I was making 300 basis points. Like, how does that work? Like, I can either do a third of the loans or like retire in a few years.
Right.
And he's here, right? So
Right.
something wasn't perfect. Like, yeah, maybe the money was there, but it sounds like there was problems with that business model.
Yeah.
So just know it's all the same everywhere. It's all about, you know, I think good leadership. Dave, thank you. I'm glad I met you, of course, early on, and that you hired me as a bio major. And
fire you.
a back room that can in a back room that can get everything closed on time. So that's
So true. Everything's shifting too. All these models are changing. So brokerage can be great. 2019 was amazing. I had a ball. And then it started shifting. Like, it just, all of a sudden it's, you know, UWM became, it's really like a lot of the brokering right now is they're all retail of UWM. And it's just, it's something different. And I'll tell you, I have not had a problem pricing whatsoever. And I've probably closed close to 20 units now already. And I think I started 2 weeks ago because my team started a month before. But I'm pricing and it's all good, man. There's a sweet spot here, and the service level's like sick. Like, I had to build my own operations company to serve the brokerage, you know, and that was another headache. All it was distractions from things like Chris is talking about, just doing it, you know.
Well, hey, everybody, thank you for all the kind words. I really appreciate it. Chris, I really appreciate your time here. Thanks for sharing. I know this isn't like something you like to do, but it helps everybody when you do it. So thanks a lot. We're going to do another one of these. I'm getting these recorded. I'll do one with Giuseppe and he can tell a little bit about some more of his story. And then more stories to share, because I say this to all of you. For those of you that don't know, when I meet new recruits and I sit down with them, one of the things I do is I pull out the pay stubs and I'm like, I just want you to know I'm not bullshitting, because I got lied to a lot. When I was young, before I got in the mortgage business, I was just ambitious and I was looking for an opportunity to just be able to, I wanted to make a lot of money, but I wanted to be able to have security for my family. I wanted to have prosperity, an opportunity for prosperity. That's what I say. Like, you know, none of us are owed prosperity, but if you want an opportunity for prosperity, that's what I was looking for. And definitely security. I had a wife and 3 kids. And I was easy prey for the hucksters, right? That song, Like a Rock, the hucksters and their schemes. I was easy prey for people that would just tell you, like Giuseppe says, let's just tell you what you want to hear. And then you'd go to work somewhere and, you know, you realize like nobody's making the money you said I could make. Like, but this is all bullshit. And so I show the pay stubs, and now I tell people, like, going, you know, I want to show your pay stubs to the next wave of recruits. So to show that it's real, it's legit, and you can do it, and it's life-changing, and you can create so much opportunity for your family. And it doesn't just have to be in sales. This is just an amazing business with it's a weird little sub-niche business that not too many people know about. But know that it's real, and if you do the work, it always works. So that's the end of this. Thanks, man. Chris, thanks, everybody. I appreciate all your comments. Great job, and have an awesome day. I'm going to be, we're in a management team offsite all day, so we're just going to be in the training room back here. But have an awesome day, everyone. Thank you.